Hello and welcome to another Creative Insights video podcast. We are recording here again at Turnhouse, which is one of the campuses of North West Hebrides, and we're delighted to be here and have another opportunity to talk to a creative about their process and to try and get an insight into their inspiration and some of the work that they have done over the life of their career. So in this series we've been focusing on musicians, and hopefully over the life of the podcast we'll talk to other creative folk about their process. But at the moment we've got our third musician here today. We started with Tia Jane Bodden, who was a songwriter, then Liam Ross, who was a fingerstyle guitarist, and today I'm delighted to welcome Simon Bradley, who, as you see, is a fiddle player. And we're going to talk to Simon about a little bit about, I guess, how he's got to the point he is now, but we're going to focus on 3 pieces of music that he's written and try and get into insight into how they were written. So Simon, welcome. It's great to have you here.
It's lovely to be here. It's lovely to be here in sunny Alness, even sunnier than Nairn.
Oh, well, there you go.
Added waft of soup.
The soup's always here in Alness. Thank you. Great to have you here. So, to start off with, Simon, it's good for us maybe to have a wee bit of an insight of how it started with you. How did you choose the fiddle, or did the fiddle choose you?
I think I chose the fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
And it surprised me because it was in the school, and they basically came around, the music service, and said, who would like to play the violin? It was obviously, this was classical lessons. It was way before Fish, Ross, and all these kind of Celtic traditional opportunities. So it was classical. And I put my hand up, and I was given a fiddle and lessons, and joined an orchestra, and loved it. However, the scales, I was a bit of a lazy student. Do many lazy students become teachers? There's a wee theory there, research going. But basically, the scales and arpeggios and the kind of long distance between being able to play your first symphony resulted in me being seduced away into the world of Celtic fiddle music.
Okay.
And my father's Irish, so I'd heard Irish music
Yes.
in house sessions, and I thought, I could play those melodies, and it looked so much fun. So I joined a Ceilidh band in Manchester, which is near where I lived, and met other people that had that interest.
So what age were you when that happened? Because obviously you must have developed a certain amount of competence to say, I know I could play those tunes. So it didn't happen instantly.
So I was about 9 when I got the violin.
Yeah.
And had some classical lessons, did a few grades,
Mm-hmm.
got the basics, and then got the opportunity to diverge into this other genre,
Yeah.
which I'd seen kind of being performed in Ireland, because I used to go over to Ireland to visit my family there. And it was about 2 years later, so about 11,
Okay.
I think.
And you were in Burnley?
Rochdale.
Sorry. You're in Rochdale, and your father was Irish, so there's 2 traditions there. And obviously Rochdale isn't a big sort of Celtic music tradition, so it was very much attached to your father's experience at first, I guess.
Yeah, it was quite a lonesome
Yes.
beginning, because I was basically the only Celtic traditional player in the school. So it was basically me with the old LPs, just playing them over and over in the bedroom and learning them. But then I got my boost in the residency, as it were, in the summer holidays. So it was very solitary.
Yeah, and so then you stopped doing they didn't teach you classical anymore at that point. Then you just
I left to focus on the on the trad stuff.
Good. So that, I guess, what it shows is a bit of single-mindedness, Simon, and the sort of like, you obviously, once you found that as the home of your music, or what you were going to be inspired by, it was kind of like obvious to you, this is like where you want to be working. Is that fair? Although you wouldn't articulate that obviously when you were young, but...
No, I did become obsessed. In fact, my parents used to tell me to stop practicing because I became so obsessed.
We
used to drive to my granny's, and I would be like playing on a mandolin, so I could play in the car. So I became. I'm quite an obsessive person. So.
Right. So you'd be practicing at home. Your parents would say, "Right, we're going." You would pick up the mandolin, play the mandolin all the way there. And what would happen when you arrived there? Would you keep playing?
No, I would stop there, because
my
my granny was. She liked to hold court, so
so you needed to pay attention.
But in the car, so they missed all those years of radio. It's all my fault.
Why could they not listen to like talk radio?
I was playing.
Well, you were playing. Okay.
I was playing music.
Oh wow! Would you rotate tunes, or would you do the same tune, Simon?
I used to get a book of collection of tunes and play through the book.
Wow! So they got an education in some ways as well. They were
it's an education they didn't sign up for.
Right. Okay.
Or
It's a good story. Okay, so let's come to the first piece of music, which
Okay.
we've asked folk to talk about something that they wrote early, and I believe this is your first tune.
Yeah, so I grew up near Manchester, a place called Rochdale, and there was a dearth of people with that same interest.
Mm-hmm.
And my first degree, I went to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And Edinburgh was the kind of epicenter in those days of the trad scene
Mm-hmm.
in Scotland. And it was flourishing. There were groups like the Easy Club who were kind of taking the tradition and giving it a fresh, very attractive and very popular light.
Mm-hmm.
People, all the bands were starting to tour America and Europe.
Yeah.
It was a vibrant scene. So I came there as a student, and this was my nirvana. There were sessions all the time. I was just so
Yeah.
happy. And the first tune came out of that just exuberance, excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose it was kind of a swingy
Yeah.
take on the music. The music is all dance music from your Kayleys. I'm sure you'll have seen it at weddings, which is, quite regimented and fits.
Yes.
But the melody players had taken it and mixed it with swing,
Yeah.
like Django Reinhardt, and the sense of that. So there was subtle syncopations in the melody,
And is that
and that's imbued the first tune. That I
yeah,
wrote.
and so what one of the things that's interesting about these conversations is it's how intentional. So did you start off thinking that's what I want this tune to be? So you were inspired to think this is the sort of tune I write, or did it just come out of your fingers?
It came out of my fingers. So I was just warming up. In fact, so often happens if I start playing some set melodies,
Yeah.
then I won't. I've closed that door,
Yes. Yes.
and I started playing this initial.
Can you play a little? What was the little? Was there an initial spark? What was the initial?
So it's just like a wee figure,
Yes.
and I just became kind of fascinated by it, and then built a kind of a tune. So it's like a question, answer, question, second answer,
Yeah.
and then a second part.
Okay. And did you know straight away this is going to work and this is a tune? Because obviously until you've written something, it's hard to have the confidence to go, I'm going to be able to write things. Did you think this is something you wanted to do, or did it just?
It felt good on the violin, on the fiddle.
Yeah.
There's the rock emotion, so it felt good to play. And also, I was playing so many kind of jams sessions that I'd become attuned to what kind of melodies, what kind of little grooves
Okay.
would be attractive to the other musicians and
Brilliant.
would work.
Brilliant.
So I just spent the next few days obsessively, and I remember going to the session and debuting it, and it was quite nerve-wracking.
Of course it was.
And thankfully, people liked it.
Really nice.
So
Good. Okay. Well, I'm sure we will too.
all right, okay. I'll move this out of the way. So, yeah, my first wee tune, which is called the Salvation Wheel.
That's great. You could hear the sort of, as you said, the exuberance and the sort of swing and that. It's both are still there. Nice.
Yeah, there were happy days,
Yeah.
fun days, and that was just trying to capture that.
Often
sense.
think about that idea that what we do when we create anything, it's like a snapshot of our own lives. It's how we felt at that moment, and it can take us back so powerfully to those times. It's amazing thing to be able to do for all of us if we're able to do that, because you suddenly remember things in that moment that were there. Great. So you're in Edinburgh. That was your first tune. We're moving on now to the second tune you've picked. Is this further on in your life, Simon? I'm assuming it is a bit further on. What's happening at this point with the next tune?
Yeah, so that tune, maybe it was at the right time, the right place, but that became popular. People adopted it, which is kind of the recognition in this genre. If people play it, then that's good. And there was a book of tunes called the 90s collection. It got included in that. So
fantastic.
that was good. So I
what an amazing thing from your first tune, Simon. That's pretty good.
It's been downhill since then. So I would get into. I came, I suppose, a bit known for coming up with tunes. People would ask, "Have you got any new tunes?"
Yeah.
Or they might say, "Would you write a tune for so and so's wedding?" Or so the second tune I'm going to play. The second and third tune are much more recent, and they kind of allude to two of the flavours of traditional music. So when I moved from a kind of Irish Manchester scene, I moved to Scotland, and the Scottish tradition is absolutely amazing. It's getting stronger and stronger. So you learn all the Scottish tunes, played with the Scottish musicians, and the Scottish Céilís. And this second tune has more of a kind of Scottish form to it. And it's in a kind of march form. And it was written for an occasion. And I always thought that the Scots have a great repository of written down books, the collections. It's very well recorded. And, typically they've been named after clan chiefs and the good and the famous. But you'd also get events or, significant buildings. So I wrote this tune actually for a recent, I suppose, political protest back in Ireland. And there is a scandal about building using faulty breeze blocks made up with high mica and pirate content. And they marched, all the people affected, including my own family, because all the houses are going to have to be knocked down and built again. So it's a big deal. So they marched down to Dublin to protest. So I called it the Mica March. So
very nice.
Whereas the first tune is kind of frivolous and happy, and
this is different.
This is more attempting to get a kind of martial. We're going to protest.
So it's interesting, isn't it? Because in music without lyrics, you're thinking about all the meaning behind the music before. So you did that, so you've been thinking about that before you wrote the melody.
Yeah. So this was an event that my family were participating in, a very real event.
Yeah.
And I wanted to write something to kind of commemorate that.
And so that helped you sort of frame the sort of tune that you would write. It helped you frame to think about, I guess, the scales or perhaps some of the decisions about what you're going to write in terms of... And that idea, I think, if you are thinking of doing anything creative, if you've got some sort of framework and you've got some idea of the sort of thing you want to do, it really helps. So what you've done there, Simon, is a really good example of not having a blank page, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there is a blank page, but you've already got all the surrounding stuff that will help you. There's emotion, there's history, there's meaning. All of that is going to help in terms of what you then produce. It puts a bit of pressure, of course, on what you produce, but it's a good thing, a useful thing. Okay.
So this is the Mica March, and it's got the kind of last phrase of a march is it's got this kind of pointed, so kind of pointing finger. Right. So you can probably hear that then. So the Mica March.
Thank you. it's got a sort of a dignity, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sense of heroism,
exactly.
dignity,
Yeah, there is something in that.
protest,
A righteous indignation. That's what I was
righteous
after.
indignation.
I felt that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. Okay, thank you, Simon. So those have been really good examples and quite different. It's interesting how just with a melody, we've only got 8 notes essentially that can have such different feels and different motivations behind them. Really great. Okay, so the last piece of music is we asked you all to think of something that's most recent. So this is one of your most recent tunes, I'm thinking.
Yeah, so going from the Irish natal kind of inspiration, then moving to study in Scotland, I got an opportunity to play a different style of Celtic music within this family, and that was a place in northern Spain, the Principality of Asturias, which is a wonderful place. And they've got their own traditional music and language and dance and culture and bagpipes, etc. And I started to play in bands and going to festivals. I played in this festival in Lorient, which is in Brittany, and that's kind of gathering of all the different Celtic-inspired parts of the world, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Galicia, and Asturias. And I met some Asturians, and later down the line they asked me to join their band. So there was a linguistic barrier, and then it was like learning a whole new distinctive tradition. They had their own dances. And so this last tune was, I helped some locals set up a kind of, I suppose, a fèis, a local class. And there was a local musician who'd lived in this part of Asturias in Spain, who was the local fiddler. And he had fallen asleep one night, so the story goes, and he was a farmer, and his pig had eaten half his ear.
Oh dear.
It's a sad story.
It's a shocking story.
It's a shocking story. So I was presented this as a kind of brief, and they wanted me to write a tune to kind of in honour of Media Orea, half ear.
Half ear, okay.
Now this, and the further ingredient that I tried to put into this tune was, it was for like very young beginners. So there was like little children, and of course they've got this strange man from a different country
yes.
who speaks Spanish with a very strange accent. So there's all these little toddlers, and I wanted it to be almost like a nursery rhyme.
Okay. Simple enough for them to understand.
And kind of, maybe like a children's feel to it,
about
despite the gruesome
about a man having his ear eaten.
So I went with the context rather than the man, because
there
wasn't that story.
So I'm interested, just before we go further about this tune, so what you've traced almost in your creative journey is you were attracted to the Irish sound, and then you did a bit of contact with the Manchester scene, then you went to Edinburgh, and then obviously you've had this connection to Asturias as well. So do you think that happened so early, Simon, and you making this decision for yourself has allowed you to sort of, be open to those transitions to working in other musical genres, or is it just you're just interested in what is interesting, I guess?
Well, I mean, I think that, they say travel broadens the mind.
Absolutely.
And, I think it was Chesterton said that one of the best outcomes of travelling abroad is that when you come back, you see where you've come from with new
that's
eyes.
Well, that's the end of Lord of the Rings, when the hobbits go back.
Yeah.
If you watch the films, this isn't true, but if you've read the
Spoiler.
books, when they come back at the end, they're all different, and they realise everything is different because of the journey they've had. So that's a lovely, So almost, I guess the point about that is the influence that openness has had on your music is significant, because you're open to all these new ways of thinking and the new tunes, and even the story about the man and the pig's ear, you wouldn't have heard that otherwise.
Yeah, it's a rich tapestry, and learning other genres, other styles. It only makes you a better musician, hopefully, but certainly a more informed musician anyway.
Thank you. Sorry, I set us a wee sidetrack there, Simon. So this tune, you were going for something that had a simple sort of sing-song nature to it.
Yeah, I had the audience in mind, the context in mind. So I was going to teach all these little beginners, with the little tiny violins, this tune. So I wanted it to be a childish. I didn't want, like a gruesome.
No. Which it could have been, of course.
It could have been. I took an executive decision
that was
and
wise. Yeah,
went for the audience rather than
brilliant.
the people.
Okay.
So it's just a kind of childish. I wanted that childish nursery rhyme almost
Lovely.
kind of feel.
Okay.
And it also has, like the second one, I was like a typical Scottish march, you know. The first one was kind of a, you know, jiggy kind of really fun. This one is more. It's a different rhythm.
Yes. Okay.
And I don't know if you've ever been to Spain. You can almost, you know, they play the banderetas, the tambourines.
Yes.
And they have the dancers there.
Yeah.
So it obviously started with that rhythm.
Okay, that was where it started from. So again, what's really helpful is that amount of thinking and research, not just about the situation, but also about the style of the music is all there. And although maybe, I don't know, Simon, whether you would have this written down as a list, but you would certainly have that. All these things are almost there in your imagination, in your head before you begin.
Yeah, I wanted it to sound familiar.
Yeah.
To these, you know, young people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
You know, the situation was alien enough as it was. It was kind of the first year, and
So the context again,
yeah,
is what helped define it,
and the kind of local knowledge.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So half here, medio area.
Thank you, Simon. And we're going to just see that 3 tunes that we've talked about in a set now, I think.
In reverse order.
In reverse order, okay. Thank you, Simon. That was great. It was great to see them. And while that was playing, you were saying to me, Simon, that playing those tunes and describing them is all very well, but of course that's their natural habitat when they're played with other musicians. And so that is kind of the extra layer in what you're already, when you're thinking about when you're writing tunes. Do you think about then the chord structures and how they might be accompanied as you're writing them?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like the heads.
Yeah.
And this is, made into a song.
Yes.
So this is, a set. And you would think about the musicians who are there. So this is like with the guitar, a lot of rhythm defines the harmony, and then the viola with second lines and counterpoints and rhythmic things. But these melodies, they need to be able to just about stand alone.
Yes.
Set the pace, hint at the groove, and imply the rhythm and the feel. And I've talked about some of the other kind of stylistic things, childish, heroic, these different kind of moods. But, they really come into their own when it's in ensemble and playing. And, this is the natural habitat.
Yeah.
So that was like the zoo, and this is now
they're in the wild.
This is in the wild,
I like that. And I think that's the same for certainly most music, isn't it? There's a simplified version of something, and I think things have to work in that simplified version. Yeah. And then the glitter and the interest and the colour can all be added. But it's been quite exposing, I guess, for you, Simon, playing them this way, but useful, I think, for folk to hear them and the intention behind them. I hope it was interesting for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, even when you write it down, you don't try and capture all the nuances.
No.
Just like in a standards book, you just give them enough with the implication where you still have to bring it to life. Yeah. So they were the heads that I was just sharing there. Okay,
thank you very much, Simon. So if you're feeling inspired and interested in studying music or any other creative subjects that are available to you across UHI Northwest Hebrides, please do get in touch and look at the website where you can get all the information. I'd like to thank music and sound production students for their help today, and the audience, and especially the filmmakers who I've forgotten the past 2 times. So thank you, filmmakers, for your help today and on other occasions. Please like and share the video if you've enjoyed it, and hope to see you again for another set of these series. Thanks again for joining us, and keep creating. Thank you very much.